Hello and welcome to another edition of Parry's Pickups. Another one from the UK, still here. And I went out to Derby yesterday, and in Derby I went to CX, and in CX I picked up a few games, coming to a total of £11 British. So how many games did I get for £11? Well, let's just tally them up here. Okay, that's 5 games. And before I went out I made up a little list of what I was after. I didn't find everything on that list. In fact, maybe just 2 of the games are on the list I picked up from CX. The first being Infamous 2. Infamous 2 is a PlayStation exclusive game. The reason I'd held off getting this for so long was because I never finished Infamous 1. But I guess it's a completionist in myself, so well, you know, this is meant to be a good game. You know, I really like what I've played of Infamous. I'd like to get Infamous 2, and when I saw it at £4.50 I thought, yeah, go on then, go on, Infamous 2 it is. So I picked that one up. I think the other game that was on my list was I really fancy trying out the Just Dance series. So I picked up Just Dance 3. This was £6 for the Wii, of course. And yeah, I had a very quick go on it yesterday, and it kind of wore me out. But I can see the potential for this at parties and such. This version is Just Dance 3, as I said, and I bought this one over any other ones there because I quite like the shiny cover. It does have 2 free bonus tracks, Katy Perry tracks. I seem to remember the only way to get these was to download them or go. I don't know if that's available still or not. To be honest, I'm not a huge Katy Perry fan, so it doesn't really bother me too much. I picked this up because it's got a few good ones on. It's got Chemical Brothers, it's got Buggles, it's got Kiss, Donna Summer, Aha, Queen, Scissor Sisters, yeah, like Janelle Monáe, Danny Elfman, This Is Halloween, and Daft Punk, The Funk is on this. So I quite liked the track list on this one, so that's why I picked that one up. The other 3 games, I was after Amped 2 for the original Xbox. Then I saw Amped 1, and you know, the only Amp game I've actually played up to this point is Amped 3, which I quite like. And so I thought, well, you know, I'd like one of the Amp games for the original Xbox, but I thought Amp 2 would be the one to get. When I saw Amped, the original Amped for 50p, I thought, well, I should give that a go, and I've just been playing it. And you know, it's pretty straightforward, which I like about it actually. And the idea is you enter areas, you do a few stunts and stuff, you try and get photographers to recognise you and catch you doing good stunts, and then you might get a opportunity to do some stunts in front of one of the sponsors to be able to get sponsorship and such, and you continue on like that. It plays very well. It looks nice enough for an original Xbox game, and yeah, I really just love the straightforwardness of it. It plays like you'd expect it to play. It plays like a Tony Hawk's game. So it's not racing, no, it's stunts, so it's quite different from the SSX series. But I like it, and it's good. It is similar to Amp 3, but it's a more straightforward version, which I quite like about it. A couple more sports titles here, 50p each. You may have noticed I've been picking up a lot of FIFA Street lately. Well, yeah, I'll make no qualms about it. I like FIFA Street, and it made me think, well, perhaps there's some good football games that are easy to pick up and play on the Wii. And therefore I picked up FIFA 09 All Play for 50p. I love saying for 50p, it's great, isn't it? This is okay, we had a quick go of it. I like the point and pass system where you play with the Wii remote and you can point at the player you want to pass to, press a button and it passes. Nice, shooting's done by doing that with the Wii remote. And yeah, that felt kind of good. First of all, I tried this new 8v8 footy match with the Mii's. It felt slow, I thought. I actually preferred the proper football match on this, because the proper FIFA 09 is on this as well. It's not just Mii football, that's just an added extra. That felt a bit better. Not bad at all. It's also got support for Classic Controller and GameCube Controller, which we tried out as well. So, yeah, all in all, 50p. Not bad. And I thought, when I saw this one 50p, I thought, well, I don't know which one to get, I'll just get both of them. When they're 50p, well, that's what happens, isn't it? So, this is touted as being easily the best footy game on a Nintendo console. 90% from Nintendo Official Magazine. I'm assuming it's similar, but I'm not sure yet, because I've not had the opportunity to play it yet. But there it is, that's Pro Evolution Soccer 2008 for the Wii. So we went further into Derby and popped into, what is it? That's Entertainment. And they had a few PS2 games. I was looking for a few particular ones, none of which I got, but one game that I had been curious about for some time and decided to pick up. This was on there's 3 games here. It was 3 for £5. This is Shocks. Shocks is a rally game, and having the EA Sports Big license there, I usually expect it to be over the top, cartoony. This game isn't so much. In fact, despite it calling itself Shocks Rally Reinvented, which apparently was dropped for the American release of the game, or probably wasn't there to begin with, it doesn't really reinvent the wheel at all. It's an arcade rally game. It's similar to Sega Rally, and that's all I can really say about it. It is an arcade rally, perfectly good arcade rally game, but it's not as unique as I was expecting. In fact, when you choose like the Toyota Corolla, for instance, and you're playing it, it does look like Sega Rally as well. It's not the greatest looking game. I mean, it's Dreamcast quality, which is, you know, it's good, but I've certainly seen better technical feats on the PS2. So yeah, did I enjoy it? I liked it. I played 2-player with my girlfriend, and she was really good at it, and I was really not so good at it. I found that you were always racing with AI players, and I found that those AI players were particularly good. And once you got in the lead, you sort of stayed in the lead. And if you were at the back of the pack, it was very difficult to catch up with any of the cars, which felt a bit unfair to me, because I felt I was racing pretty well. Maybe I'm just bad at it, but it was very cheap, and it's an okay racing game. There's nothing bad about it, really. Just it's not as exciting as I expected it would be. Next up, because I was trying to make 3 for £5 here, and I've played good Hot Wheels games in the past. This is Hot Wheels World Race. This is part of the deal, and it's developed by Climax, and Climax have done some perfectly good racing games in the past. I think they're known for doing the earlier MotoGP games. The unique thing about this is the stunts, I suppose. In the races you have the opportunity to do jumps. When you do these jumps, you can do stunts by moving the analog stick either forward to the side and then pressing button combinations, and that increases your turbo and yeah, gives you a bit of an advantage. There's a huge selection of Hot Wheels cars in the game. Not many are unlocked at the beginning, but you can unlock things by playing multiplayer, which I always like in these kind of games, because you don't necessarily want to jump straight into the single player. You want to play the multiplayer mode, so, well, at least I did. And yeah, there's quite a lot of cars, quite a lot of tracks, but yeah, they're going to take some unlocking. We didn't unlock any tracks playing multiplayer, so we were stuck on the same tracks, so not so good that, but yeah, you can trigger shortcuts as well, and I'm reading off the back now. Also features a song Hot by Smash Mouth, if in case you're interested. But this is a perfectly good racing game. I'd say it was probably slightly more interesting than Shocks, because you know, good graphics. It was more exciting than Shocks. This is kind of more the excitement I was craving when I picked up Shocks, actually. So yeah, not a bad game. I wouldn't rush out and buy it. I wouldn't say it's a must-have for the PS2, but it's perfectly good. Not very exciting yet, are we? But the next game, like Amped, I was looking for a different version of the same game, and I was actually looking for the original Getaway on PS2, but I found Getaway Black Monday. And I'm pretty confident this is a sequel, in fact near certain it's a sequel to the Getaway. I know very little about this. I don't know how it stacks up against the original game. I don't know if it's better or worse, but I like the idea of exploring a virtual London in a GTA type game. And I played a very short amount of this just now, and yeah, atmospherically it was pretty good, and it felt very cinematic. I thought the writing was quite believable, and the characters and the grittiness of it. The controls were okay. Third person combat based. I was went into a flat and started arresting drug dealers. There's no real tutorial actually jumping into this. I don't know if it assumes you've played Getaway, the previous game, or just you'd look at the instructions first. But I soon worked out the circle button cuffed the criminals, so I cuffed a few people and I found out to shoot people, and there I was wondering what to press. I think it was square in the end. You can kind of lock on with R1 or do a manual aim with R2, and there's some reload on L1 or L2, I forget. So, okay, it didn't take too long. I haven't tried to get used to it. I haven't tried the driving stuff yet. I've just done some on foot things, but it felt gritty enough. And not bad, but at first I thought, how am I going to aim? I couldn't aim, and I was using the manual aim, and it was near impossible because there was no crosshair. So I was standing right in front of a person, and I could not shoot him. It was only later I realised that R1 was the lock-on. But that's that. That's the Getaway Black Monday, and I know it's got the potential to be good. Let us know if the original Getaway is worth playing, or is this the better game? I'd be quite interested to find out. And yeah, but I expect the original Getaway is very affordable, just like this was. So maybe I'll try it too. I was in Crewe, my hometown, and popped in CX there, and picked up a couple of games. First being FIFA Street. No surprises there. This was the last FIFA Street game to be released. It's very enjoyable. It feels more like a proper FIFA game than any of the previous ones did, in that it's very realistic, and the course, well, I say the course, the pitch that we played on was a more traditional football pitch, as opposed to some of the more street settings that were in the previous games. There are those same levels in here. We didn't play them, but there's a warehouse pictured on the back. So yeah, it's good. And I say, the last FIFA Street game to be released. It demanded a reasonably high price of £8 in CX. I don't know if that's because this is sought after, or it's a particularly fan favourite, or it didn't sell as well as the other ones, or whatever. I'm not sure why, because you'd expect a game like this to be a couple of quid, wouldn't you? But no, and because, again, completist, it was the last FIFA Street game I needed to pick up. So here it is, and it's like the other games in the series. It's good. Honestly, you can't go wrong with the FIFA Street series, especially if you're not that good at football games. It's only Assassin's Creed. Now, I'd never played the original Assassin's Creed, and I quite fancied giving it a go. I do have a downloadable version of the game on PS3, which I got with Assassin's Creed Revelations, I think. I've never played that. But I saw this at, I think it was £2 in CX, and I thought, well, I've got every other Assassin's Creed game physically, so yeah, why not get this one as well, especially at that price. It's good. I mean, it's hard to say. I think they've really evolved over time, Assassin's Creed games have. This has a good atmosphere. It's very grey. It's dark and grey and a little bit gritty. Nice soundtrack, nice atmosphere. You can feel how the combat system has got a lot better over the years. It seems to be quite simplistic in this game. Some of the things, again, it's nice to have a game where it's a little bit more straightforward, and you very much learn the basics. And the basics of Assassin's Creed are not to be seen and blending in with the people around you. Holding down B to move gently through the people, or running through them obviously alerts you. You do the littlest thing and it alerts a lot of people to your presence, so it really is a more intense experience from what I've played in other Assassin's Creed games. Graphics are suitably nice and detailed. I was quite impressed with that as well. I imagine at the time when this came out it was a very impressive game. Criticism I've heard level at this is it's quite simple, maybe, compared to the other ones. That it repeats a lot of things, but yeah, I think it was pretty good. And again, when you can pick up these games for £2 or whatever less, it's well worth giving them a go. Now the next few games are ones I picked up on eBay, and the first would be the limited edition of Mark Echo's Getting Up for the original Xbox. This is a graffiti adventure game, so it's not what you'd expect from a graffiti game, I suppose, where it's a more arcade style affair. This actually has a storyline and characters and combat, and the graffiti is, it's part of the game, but so far it seemed more like a side note, really. Controls are slightly unique, take a little bit of getting used to. The combat's got a learning curve to it, which some of the controls in the combat feel a bit awkward to me. The actual act of doing graffiti is fairly straightforward. It's not like Jet Set Radio where you're twisting analog sticks around in different shapes, which I really liked. This is, you hold down, I think, a trigger, and then you move the stick up, keep it centered, or move it down to decide the height of your graffiti, and I think you just hold down a button, maybe it's B, to do the graffiti. You can use the D-pad to change the colour of the graffiti. I assume more into the game you get, the more interesting and advanced the graffiti part of it gets. But it's quite adult in its themes and gritty, and maybe in a similar way to the Getaway, but of course this is set in America. Yeah, it's rather cinematic, I'd say. I don't know if I'm really sold on it yet. This version comes with, of course, the game in a slipcase, and in there you also get a soundtrack. And inside the box there also comes a little Getting Up video, so I'm not sure exactly what's on there. I haven't checked that out yet. I think it's something to do with perhaps the making of the game. I could be wrong, it could actually be... Let me see actually. It says on here, exclusive making of short films and game tips. So that's what's on there. So this is very inexpensive. It was brand new on eBay. So if you're interested in this game, then I think you can probably still get a special edition like this, brand new, for relatively cheap. I just had a go on Ape Escape 2, and what can I say about that? It's fairly similar to Ape Escape. Yeah, it's on a PS2, and it has some nice kind of... imagine the aesthetic for Yoshi's Island. I'm sure you're probably familiar with that. It's kind of crayons, kind of a little bit watercolour-esque, a little bit sketchy, and in some of the backgrounds there definitely is that sort of aesthetic, which is nice. The characters themselves are pretty standard affair. They look nice and rounded and such compared to their PS1 counterparts. They've got really long arms. That was slightly off-putting for me. But the storyline is pretty straightforward. The professor disappears, and the two characters, the boy and the girl, the boy being the guy you play as, and the girl being sort of helping you out, giving you gadgets and things to help you catch the monkeys. What's interesting about Ape Escape, I think, is the controls. Our jump is on R, which is unique. That's because the X, the face buttons, the X, triangle, circle and square, they act as like an inventory for the gadgets that you use to track the monkeys. So at first you just have a monkey stunner, which is like a lightsaber, and the net. You can probably just use the net at first to capture monkeys, but it can help if you stun them first. And to actually use a selected item, you use the analog stick. Push that forward, back, left, right, depending on what your needs are, and you'll use whatever item you've got selected. As the game progresses, you get different items, different gadgets, like the monkey radar, which you use the right analog stick to move it around you, try and find the direction the monkey you're looking for is in. The objective of the levels is to catch a set amount of monkeys. First level you catch 3, second level you catch 4, and it changes like that. All the monkeys you collect have names, and it's great that you can go in an album and you can look up the names of the monkeys and find out a little bit more about them. Got a nice sense of humour. But yeah, why are you catching the monkeys? I should probably mention is they've got these hats on which make them super intelligent, and they need to be. You basically need to recover the hats because they belong to the scientist. It just so happens that one of the monkeys, a white monkey named, is it Vortex? This can't be. I can't remember what he's called. The white monkey who's like the ringleader of them, and yeah, he's causing a bit of mischief. So track down the monkeys, capture them, and that's Ape Escape 2. Next two games are also bought off eBay, or eBay. They are sports titles. The first being Everybody's Tennis, which I got brand new. That's really fun. There's a bit of a learning curve to it. Despite it being everybody's tennis, it plays a little bit different to some tennis games I've played, in that there is an emphasis on how hard you hit the ball in order to. You got to hit it hard enough to obviously bounce in the area you need it to. But if you don't hit it hard enough, then there's an extra layer of strategy to this than I played in other. But once you've got the grasp of that, it is a very straightforward tennis game with hidden depth, I'd say. It's nice and colourful. Yeah, it's good. The Everybody's series, or as it's known in the States, I think Hot Shots series, has always been quality, just like this next game, Everybody's Golf, which again was off eBay, and I think I got it relatively cheap. That one was brand new and very cheap as well. This one's really good. It plays similar to Mario Golf, so if you're looking for a PlayStation equivalent to Mario Golf, then this is a great one to pick up. It's got tons of personality, nice graphics, great selection of characters, a hilarious commentator who who comes out with the greatest stuff. Honestly, it's hilarious, and it's kind of that moment where it's like unbelievable how funny and off the wall the commentator is on this game. So he's Scottish as well. He sounds a lot like Sean Connery. So this game is great, and it has nice graphics, very good water effects, I may add, in this game. Great personality, sense of humour, and some real spot-on technical golfing, which is again very accessible to pick up. I just had to make a quick trip downstairs to pick up something else which I'd nearly forgotten about, that I picked up yesterday in Derby from a fantastic store called Blast from the Past. They sell all sorts of retro toys and games from the classic 70s, 80s eras, and 90s of course, you know, like Power Rangers and things like that. They also have a selection of video games, and I picked up a Super Nintendo game which I'd never heard of before, but I was interested because it was a platform game and because it used claymation, and it was developed by, or at least published by, Interplay, those who were responsible for Clay Fighter. So I assumed it probably has some ties with Clay Fighter, and that game is this game right here. It's called Claymates, and it received a rather good review from Super Pro magazine back in the day of 90%. Everything a true platform guru could ever desire and more. So you play some dude who can transform into clay animals. And it's a platform game, and it cost me £15. £15 boxed SNES game. Don't know if it's obscure, don't know if it's rare. I'd never heard of it, but this is the kind of thing that I like, so I didn't take much convincing for me to pick this up. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to play it yet. This is because my Super Nintendo, which has been modded to play Japanese and American games as well, using two switches on the side. One switch switching the region, the other switch switching the resolution from 50 to 60 Hertz. It sort of got stuck in import mode, and the switch won't turn it back to PAL mode. And the ironic thing is, it is a PAL Super Nintendo. So I think I need to take the thing apart. I think I need to check those connections, but I'm reluctant to, in a way, because, you know, it's nice to have something that plays American and Japanese cards so easily, and I wouldn't want to ruin that by opening it up and doing something wrong and then it being absolutely useless. So I kind of like what it's able to do at the moment, but yeah, that doesn't help my situation trying to play this game. I'm considering picking up a PAL Super Nintendo, but it's just finding one at the right price nowadays. Anyway, I've had a quick look through the manual, and I was surprised at the quality of the illustrations in there. I expected something a little bit more than what I saw in the instruction manual. I don't know if I'm spoilt nowadays, or if this was the standard of manual illustration, but I mean, it's by no means terrible, but yeah, it maybe look better on camera than it does in here, but I think maybe I'm just used to seeing stuff rendered in Illustrator as opposed to felt tip pens, but it's a curious style there, but I think it does look a lot better on camera. But it's so sketchy. It was just, I thought it was worth mentioning. Anyway, that's Claymate. I'm going to look it up and see if it's any good. I hope it is. Otherwise, Super Pro Magazine will have to pay for that. But no, I expect it will entertain me. And £15 was at the high end of what I'm willing to pay for a game I've never even heard of. But as I say, it just appealed to me, so that's why I decided to pick it up. And it's always nice to find a boxed SNES game for under 20 quid. So that's that one. And that brings me to the end of this episode of Parry's Pickups. Thank you so much for checking out the video. I hope you found something that you're interested in and perhaps maybe want to try out now. And yeah, that's the idea of these videos, just to share what I've been picking up, maybe find a few things, recommend a few games, tell you a bit more about them. I'd like to do one more video before I turn back to Denmark on import games, because I've picked up a few just lately. But I don't know if I'm going to get time. It's going dangerously close to the time when I need to return back to Denmark to go back to work. So I'll see if I can slip it in, but I can't make any promises, I'm afraid. But I'll try and do my best. But worry not, that's not the end of Parry's Pickups. Once I get back to Denmark, I'll be doing more videos. So yeah, keep checking back for more. And I'll see you again. And cheerio.